D.Pad.
Ow, my foot's stuck in the chair. How did I... Of all ways to end the video. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another installment of D.Pod, the D.Pad.Gaming podcast. I am your host, Derek, aka D.Pad. In today's episode, as I already alluded in our last one, we're going to be doing some psychoeducation on how sleep can affect us as gamers, but also not just as gamers, just overall as people, as individuals, as human beings. Sleep is our life force, my dude. Before we get into that, we do have a couple of things that I want to talk about real quick. Mostly community-based things that are going on here at D.Pad. I owe y'all answers. Two very common comments that I will get on the content that we put out here at D.Pad. First one that started to come up a lot lately, and that is, what has happened to the VR content? Hasn't gone anywhere, still making it. But that answer is very, very connected to the second most common question that we get in the comments. It's not so much a question, it's just a comment that we get a lot. It's how much my neighbors must hate me when I'm doing the VR content. I got neighbors now, y'all. That's why the VR content has been affected, and here's why. Now, here's the thing, just bear with me. It's just me trying to be a good person. That's all it is, because y'all have seen the content, okay? It's loud, it's off the wall. Literally, you've seen me hit the wall in my videos. I know that if I had me as a neighbor, I would hate myself. I believe that our home is a place of rest, relaxation. It's a place where you should be able to reset, have your peace. Kinda hard to have peace when you're just trying to relax on your couch with your feet up and watch a few episodes of The Office, and all of a sudden you hear your neighbor above you screaming at the top of his lungs because he didn't connect the pass in the NFL Pro era. For a long time, this building been empty, dude. For a long time, it was just us and my landlords way at the bottom on the first floor. Now it's a full building, and I don't want to be the problem. For the time being, I'm just kind of pulling back on it. Let my neighbors get themselves settled. Let them kind of ease themselves into, the neighborhood and what everyone's life is like. I mean, if I look outside and their car is gone, I'm pretty sure they work from home from what I've noticed so far. But anytime that I'm around and I got downtime, if there's no cars in the driveway, bro, we're throwing on the Quest and we making content. I promise. So for those two most common comments of what happened to the VR and man, his neighbors must hate him, is synergy there. So that's what's up, y'all. I got neighbors and I'm just trying to be cool right now. That's all. The next thing that I want to talk about here at D.Pad, and that is we are having a little bit of an expansion. With that said, when you're a foul-mouthed New Englander like I am, I tend to err on a particular type of vernacular in my videos. Hell, we even do it here on the podcast. All right? I do not necessarily cater to anything under 18. I think the best way to put it is D.Pad isn't necessarily family friendly. However, it's something that's been rolling around in my mind for a long time, and there are two creators who I'm very close with that I go by the tag at Ron and Mika. They are going to be now coming on board as creators here at D.Pad to help me grow a family-friendly D.Pad.Gaming channel. All right? Now, I'm not augmenting what we already have. What we have here, the 18+, me being me, just in your face with my energy and my I don't know why I'm shoving my hand at the camera like this right now. That ain't going anywhere. It's going to be a whole new channel, new content. I do not expect everyone to resonate with every piece of content that I put out. But at the same time, I still want to give D.Pad as a brand the opportunity to potentially grow and go down other avenues and work with more family-friendly brands. Keep your eyes open for that. So it's going to be called D.Pad Family. We already know what D.Pad.Gaming is, but if they don't and they find us through D.Pad Family, people are going to wonder, what's this D.Pad about? Hi! That's me over here. Put your kids to bed, and then you can watch my content, all right? With that said, let's get into what I had planned for today's episode. I was alluding to in the last episode where we covered what was pretty much my own experience with caffeine overdose and what that can do to you. And I shared a lot about my experience, shared a lot of facts with y'all in the last episode about the effects that caffeine can have on us as gamers and individuals. I do still believe that, the gaming and, these energy drink brands, I think that needs to ease up a little bit, or at least a lot of these brands need to to come up with like something a little less on the caffeine side. Shout out to Greg Helton. My boy launched his first independent supplement brand, and they're airing on the healthier side of things. I'm super proud. Fresh Supplements, I believe is what it's called. Their tag handle, I believe, if you go on Instagram, is @myfreshsups. If I screwed that up, Greg, hey, my bad, bro. All right, you know I'm the airheaded friend of the bunch. I saw the labels. I've seen what he's putting out. Very proud of him. Now, I still won't do it because it's still got caffeine involved with it. I love my coffee. I'm not getting rid of that. We already spoke about this, and which is why today's topic of sleep really hits home, because my sleep has gotten so much better, dude. I don't really struggle so much to stay asleep, but I used to really struggle with falling asleep or even just getting tired. Not so much anymore, man. Going back to what the FDA like regulated numbers, what they say is like a healthy amount, and I'm even making sure I stay below that. The sluggishness has finally started to wear off, which is one thing I'm very happy about. The sleep is not tied to that. I'm getting through the days now like no problems. I'm actually waking up earlier in the morning, which is kind of crazy. I'm at the gym earlier, you know, like a lot more productivity, just things getting done. And I always used to really depend on my coffee to think I needed that to get it done. Now that I've made the adjustments, don't need it. Now, this episode is ultimately a podcast version of a lesson that I used to do with my students, clients, whatever you want to call them, when I was working as a therapeutic mentor. This lesson would have to be used with parents that would end up arguing with their kids. You know, it's time to go to sleep. They wouldn't get off the game. This is all brought from a TED Talk that went viral in 2020. The guy's name was Matt Walker. Now, I watched it during quarantine. I was just like going down like a rabbit hole of TED Talks, but something about this one really resonated with me, and I ended up being able to draw up a lesson plan from it for my students. Now, I am going to give you like kind of bullet points that I felt are important to take from it. It's not even a long video. It's maybe about like 20 minutes. It's not bad, so I would always watch it with my students, and then we would kind of go back and, you know, talk about it, go highlight what they felt were the bullet points, and then we break it all down. He actually starts this off with a joke, but it's a joke that to me is going to resonate with a lot of our listeners, seeing as how majority of the D.Pad.Gaming, based on our analytics, we got a lot of bros here, a lot of squad mates, a lot of dudes, right? Mixing it up with the boys. Now, they do say, for our female listeners, a lack of sleep can affect the female reproductive system. However, in men, it's just a little bit worse. So now I'm going to read this directly. So dudes, bros, squad, the boys, pay attention right here. Men who sleep 5 hours a night on a regular basis have smaller testicles than those who sleep 7 or more. I'll say it again. I'll just word it like this. If you're sleeping for like 5 hours a night, your balls are smaller than the dude who's getting a full night. This is how a lack of sleep can affect men. Also, men who routinely sleep 4 to 5 hours will have a level of testosterone equal to someone 10 years older than them. As far as men's health goes, I classify myself as a man. Get your sleep, boys. Is the dub really worth it? Don't be a smartass about it, okay, out there. That don't mean that just because you sleep a lot, your balls are going to get huge, okay? Don't just start going to take power naps and thinking you're going to go be Johnny Big Balling it on the basketball court. No. If you're getting that lack of sleep, it's not something that can be caught up on. All right? Lack of sleep is a lack of sleep. That's why I hear people say like, oh, I'm really going to catch up on sleep this weekend. Dude, that sleep is gone. All right, this ain't a bank. You can't just get a debt and then pay it off. Like, once your sleep is gone, it's gone. All you can do is be better moving forward. This one really caught my attention. So this study was conducted in 2017. It was done to show if the all-nighter was like a good idea. This is something we see in streaming, especially with gaming streamers, all the time. Super late night hours. We've already done an episode about the super stream, staying up for days on end just for the sake of having a long stream. You know, we see a lot of them super sleep deprived because of how, you know, vested they are into their stream. It's a work of passion. I get it. But you still got to take care of your health first. All right. If you're shit behind the camera, you're going to be terrible on camera. I mean, not to say that I'm freaking killing it over here. It is what it is. They had two groups. All right, they had one that was like, okay, y'all are just going to live your life. You're going to be normal. But then y'all over here in group B, y'all are going to stay up all night. No caffeine, no naps. We're making you completely sleep deprived. They then took those groups and they put them to a test the next day. After everything was all said and done, the group that was sleep deprived showed a 40% deficit in information retention. Now think about that for a second. 40%. If you're basing this on like a scale of 100, right? We'll look at like a test, right? That is genuinely the difference between acing the exam, full 100%, and failing it, a 60. So the all-nighter, you may be reading that information, but it's not staying up here. And that's when we go to the next part, where the lack of sleep, it affects a part of the brain that's known as the hippocampus. Now, this is essentially our brain's memory drive, like our hard drive. It's where all our memories are stored. The scans that they had for the people on the normal side, hippocampus operating normally, neurons going, electrodes popping. I don't know. I'm not a fucking scientist. But everything was working perfectly, right? Sleep-deprived group, they couldn't find any brain activity within the hippocampus. That shows you right there. Case in point, they're not going to retain the information. The part of the brain that's needed is not working. And it's directly related to sleep. Our brains need sleep, they've come to find, both before learning and after. Sleep after learning is kind of like hitting the save button. You go to sleep, it helps retain it. If you sleep before learning, it's kind of like getting the brain prepped. You're getting everything ready to actually absorb the new information that's coming in. It's not just sleeping is enough for it. It's the quality of sleep. REM sleep, we all need to be able to dream, allow ourselves to really get into those deep levels, because that's where the brain activity really starts popping off. During the deepest stages of sleep, your brain initiates these high frequencies of energy. They're called sleep spindles, I believe. I'm trying to look at the camera. Let me double check. Okay, they are called sleep spindles. I know what I'm talking about. This is what helps the brain to not just remember the information, but to store it. That's the difference between short-term memory and long-term memory. Those sleep spindles are what help you basically transfer from the short-term memory to the long-term memory. That's where the quality of sleep comes in. We all can go to sleep, but I can tell you, I may have gone to bed at just to keep it at 8 hours. I may have gone to bed at times at midnight and woken up at 8 a.m. and felt like I slept maybe 3 hours if I was lucky. It's because my brain couldn't get into those deep levels of sleep. I'm achieving it more now, which is why I believe I'm able to wake up at earlier hours. I was up today at 7:45. For what? I don't know, but I was up. As we get older, we naturally decline in that ability to really fall into those levels. This is where things like dementia comes into. You see it a lot in older people. There's this term sundowning. They're not able to keep a set level of sleep, and it can really mess with you. And you know what, real quick, on that note of if you've ever been in that boat of your sleep patterns being screwed up, I know I've been guilty of this, which is using a sleep aid. Matt says it, and it's also well documented. Do not waste your time with that shit, dude. It'll put you to sleep, but you're not going to achieve those deep levels of sleep that we as human beings need for just our physical and brain health. Think of it as you're putting ultimately a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. It's not going to do anything. It may stop the bleeding, but you still got to go to the hospital, dude. Got to get those sleep spindles spinning, baby. One of the best ways to highlight how sleep can really affect us on a physical level, Matt goes on to cite what we do every year with daylight savings. Get these numbers. In the spring, when we lose an hour, we only lose 1 hour. Keep that in mind. This is only a 1 hour difference. There is a 24% increase in heart attacks every year. Get this, though. In the fall, when we gain an hour, the very next day, 21% decrease in heart attacks. I'm just sharing information. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist, but I've researched these numbers. They're legit. That's crazy. Every year these things happen after daylight savings. That's insane. And it also goes on, when we sleep, it also has to do with our cell regeneration. Now, our bodies, they got this viral set of cells, but I don't know what they're called. We'll call them hunter cells, or killer cells, I think is what Matt might have referred to as them. But these hunter cells, their job is to seek things in your body that is not good for you and get it the hell out. Without having them is completely detrimental to our health. Our immune system is based upon our body being able to create these killer cells. This is, again, only something that happens in those deepest stages of sleep. You're not going to be able to achieve that level in 4 to 5 hours. It's not going to happen. When we don't get enough sleep, our bodies just can't produce these cells. And sleeping as little as 4 hours can cause a 70% drop in creating these cells, which is going to give you a severe immune deficiency. So you see, when people don't get enough sleep, they look like shit for a reason. It's because their body's not creating the cells that they need to keep themselves healthy. I know, with what I know now, I took years off my life in my 20s. When I first started this whole entertainment industry grind, I had a period where I only slept 3 to 4 hours a night. All right, this is when I had a day job. I was doing machining, which was already long days. It was like roughly sometimes anywhere 10 to 12 hours a day. And that's get out of there, go try to hit an open mic to work on my comedy. You know, that's when I was getting into content creation. So I'm trying to keep up with putting out videos. So yeah, it was 3 to 4 hours a night for a hard chunk of my 20s until finally I was just like, I don't know, something about this ain't good, because I was always getting sick. That's why! I was just not producing enough of these cells. And on that note, when I was a machinist, I worked nights. And I'm going to share with you now something I wish I knew then. Lack of sleep has been linked to various forms of cancer, including bowel, prostate, and breast. It's gotten so bad that the World Health Organization has now classified any form of nighttime shift work as a carcinogen due to the effect it can have on one's sleep-wake rhythms. As someone who used to work night shifts, I really wish I knew that then. Like, the phrase that I used to live by during that time period of my life was like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Hear this a lot in like entrepreneurs, like a lot of like people who are always hustling, grinding. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I think with all the information I just shared with you, we now know on a mortal level, that is awful advice to give anybody. You know, let's reiterate. You'll sleep when you're dead. Keep sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night. You're on the path, because if you're a guy, your balls are smaller. You got less testosterone. All right. You've got 40% deficit in your ability to retain information. The hippocampus in your brain is literally not even working. You've achieved no sleep spindles in your brain to help yourself reset to even attain any new information. You've had a 70% drop in your killer cell, so your immune is completely shot. So you'll sleep when you're dead? Keep sleeping just 3 to 4 hours a night. You're on the right path. Also, I should probably note this right now. I never shared the information like this with my students, all right? I was never this in your face. I realized I started this off by telling y'all that this was a lesson that I did. I feel like there's a parent out there right now like, I would never have my kid learn from this guy. So yeah, it's a little more of a grittier delivery for y'all. So with that all said, let's not just scare you. Let's talk about just a few things that if you're on that road, what can you do? Tips for better sleep. This is something that I've started to apply to myself recently since the whole caffeine, drop. Regularity, man. Go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. This literally trains your brain to help improve the quality of your sleep and the quantity. If you're like me, when I sleep, I run very warm. So if like the heat's on, or like summertime for me is brutal. If there is not an air conditioner, I'm not sleeping. There's just something about my body temp skyrockets whenever I go to sleep. They say that in order for us to fall asleep as humans, why do I add those extra words? I don't know why I said humans. Maybe we got dogs that are listening. Maybe there's an alien or two that's tuning in. I don't know. I'm trying to just justify my own stupidity at this point. For us to be able to fall asleep, we have to lower our core temperatures 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the only way that we're actually able to both fall and stay asleep, is to be able to do that and maintain it. So what I came to find out is for most people, that's optimal. You got to set the room temperature to 65 degrees. Now, obviously, this varies. I know I personally like it a little bit cooler, but 65 is kind of like baseline for most people. Matt goes on to say that, sleep is our superpower. That's actually the title of the TED Talk. It might make it easier for you to find it. He says that sleep is not a luxury. If you need your sleep, if you're really feeling sluggish, listen to your body, because sleep is not a luxury. Matt goes on to say, it is a legit biological necessity, just as important as eating and breathing. It is the body's life support and Mother Nature's best effort at immortality. That word, I'm like, immortality? Like, I mean, that's kind of nuts. But, you know, I get what he's saying. It's Mother Nature's best attempt for us to live as long of a life as we can possibly have. It's how we are able to repair and rebuild. Why do you think when we go to the doctors when we're sick, they're like, make sure you rest? They don't mean just chill on the couch. They mean close your eyes, rest, get some sleep. Let the body do its natural healing. Get those killer cells up, man. Let them go to work. Hunt down what's hurting us. So I hope the information I shared with you here helps you, because, like I said, the reason why this ties into gaming is put down the controller. There's no need to be up all damn night, all right? Is your health with what I just shared with you honestly worth that one more game, bro? Come on, just one more game, dude. 9 times out of 10, as a gamer, when we run that one more game, does it ever go like we think it's going to? Never. I usually get sent back to the lobby even faster, and that's why I'm like, you know what? This is exactly why I was going to jump off. The hell with it. One more game is not important. I'm going to bed. And we see it with streamers, man. The streamer who is literally like so burnt out, they're kind of playing, and then you tune in 5 minutes later, and they're completely asleep. It's become a thing. Sleep streams. That shit needs to stop. Stop with the sleep streams, all right? Because people only tune in to fuck with the person that's sleeping. You're literally screwing up your own health. So that's how the sleep information I've shared with you ties into here at D.Pad. Ultimately, if you're a nighttime gamer and you're trying to mess with yourself, World Health Organization has already said any form of nighttime work, any form, this can be streaming, gaming creation, that's a job, right? We all making some sort of money at this, whether it be low level, you're making a couple of cents of the TikTok, the creator program, or if you're locking in those big $5,000, $10,000 marketing deals, is it really worth it? Really? I think you should reevaluate if you think it is, because even the World Health Organization is telling you it's a carcinogen. I say put down the controller. Let's go to bed. And on that note, we're not done with the episode, because now I got to share you guys with the big news. Can't share all of it, but I have been told what I can share. Because if you go on IMDb, everything's there now, so it's official. This alludes to, one, why some content has slowed up a little bit. You may have noticed at one point it was like post like every day. It's had to slow up. Some of you who have been paying attention, I appreciate you. There were some posts that were put out on D.Pad, a couple little cryptic in May of last year, 2022. Now I can share what it was. I went away to go do my first action film. This is my first real big break in the industry. Right now, everything that's going on with that has to take precedence. So what it was an action film called Aftermath. Our stars in the film were Dylan Sprouse, Mason Gooding, Deacon Lockman, and Megan Stott. Now, you may notice that I held up 4 fingers. In this business is something called a call sheet. I was 5th on that call sheet as an unknown actor. That's huge! I worked on the film even more than the stars of the film did. I worked 6 weeks on this thing, and it is by far something that I am most proud of. Mason Gooding, it was our lead villain. The way that my role was described, I play a character by the name of Echo. He was described to me as, Mason is our Emperor Palpatine. You are our Darth Vader. To which my response to the director was, dude, I can't wait to force choke someone for you. This was a dream come true. Not just to be able to, one, play a type of character that I've always wanted to play. Echo is like the loose cannon of the bunch. As the right-hand man to the villain, I am not only the one carrying out our objective, I'm the one giving the orders to our other soldiers. We are a group of soldiers who ultimately were scorned by our government. We decide we're going to fight back. We take over a bridge, and sadly, there happens to be a former Army vet on that bridge who is just as highly trained as we are. We have been joking about it amongst ourselves, the actors and the writer, who have become real good friends. We're calling it Die Hard on a Bridge. So this whole experience has been a blast. So it's cool to finally be able to start talking about it, and the reason as to why, content has been kind of like a little weird here, a little weird there. It's because, I've still been working on the film over the last year. We're finally getting to the end of what is called post-production, but that's all I can share with y'all. If you go up on IMDb, it's all there. To be able to share the screen with talents like Dylan and Mason and Deechin, whose careers are really, even Megan. Megan was the youngest one on the set. I'm pretty sure she's only like 18 years old. But at 18, 19 years old, this girl is polished, man. Like, that is a future leading lady in the business. So, like, even to share the screen with her, like, it was incredible. You know, Dylan, if you're someone who's like, wait, I'm like, why does that name sound familiar? The Sprouses, they're twins, Dylan and Cole, mostly known for their time on the Disney Channel, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Also, the twin boys in Adam Sandler's hit film, Big Daddy. Well, they're all grown up now, and Dylan has become one hell of an action film star. He's done a lot of really cool wushu films. He's done great things over in Europe. If you're not familiar with Mason Gooding, you know, he was on Ballers with Dwayne Johnson. Very well known for his work in the reboot of the Scream franchise that's happening right now. He plays Chad Meeks. He's our lead villain in this. He was my co-star that I got to stand alongside. Getting to share the screen with someone as top-tier talent, in my opinion. Getting to watch Deechin Lockman work was incredible, bro. If you have not seen what she does in the show Severance, if you haven't seen Severance, period, check that out. But, like, this woman was great to work with. Just an incredible professional experience. And then I also got to make some great relationships on that set with a couple of my other bros that were within, like, you know, the military group that I ran. There's my boy Foxtrot, Jason Martinez, the guy that played Kilo, Daniel Rios, and the writer of the film, Nathan Graham Davis. Those are my bros. I love them. We're all on this journey together. We call this a roller coaster right now because that's exactly what it's been. It has been a roller coaster ride, but it's awesome to finally get to share this news with you. I can't wait to share more with you as I am told I'm allowed to. But once the trailer drops, that's pretty much when all the lid is off. I can share every experience, every picture I took. It's going to be a lot of fun to be able to share with you guys. So stay tuned for all of that. And with that, now we can end today's episode. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you appreciated what we put together for today's episode. I hope you gained some knowledge from the information that was shared here. And be sure to come on back next time. Come and see us on over here at D.Pad. You can find us on all social media at D.Pad.Gaming. You can also drop us a line via email, D.Pad.GamingCommunity@gmail.com. You're already here on the YouTube channel if you're watching the video, so go ahead, click that button. Don't do the typical creator shit. Smash that like, hit that. Don't smash it, don't hit it. You're going to break your computer. Just click it. I'm fine with that. I appreciate it. Thank you. So with that said, appreciate your time, and as we end all things here, until next time here on D.Pod, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you soon. Much love, everybody. Take care.